Ball for ADAMSON, launching himself, and he's put it down right under the black dot.
The great thing about coaching is still being involved in the former club of Panthers. Being able to coach these young players coming through our organisation is a thrill for me, and I get mutual respect back from them. It also allows me to use my time to set up some community work that I want to do, and that's putting a foundation together in support of my daughter who has a condition called alopecia.
I think it's affecting the sport dramatically. The Labor government have came out and made some big statements. We even said it was the darkest day in sport for it.
Well, as a player, Matt made a big change. He went from the wing, where we consider our wingers a bit soft in rugby league, and he moved into the forwards, into the back row. And, he showed great leadership, I think, in the fact that how easily he did it. And it wasn't long after he moved into the forwards that he ended up playing for Australia and representing our country overseas.
To be able to speak to one of the overseas Aussie boys that's signed is just, it gives you a real buzz at the time, and that's shows how good his leadership is. I'll never forget that, and it's definitely something that I've picked up from him.
There's tremendous parallels between sport and politics. In sport, behind the boardroom, there was always sort of things going on behind scenes that nobody always tend to like. But it also always took either some leadership from the players or leadership from the coach to give a new directive to gain success. And I see the same parallel, as I said, in the political forum at the moment.
The one thing that was noted about Matt when he came to our club was how great a trainer he was. He always had a great ethic about him. He's a lot of integrity.
He was well respected on the field, and me personally, I've got a lot of respect for him off the field too.
I like to see change. I like to see leadership shown within communities, and I think our communities have been lost. Australia was once a nation of fighters, and I think now Australia's become a nation of survivors, and I don't think that is the way to live life. We need to bring spirits back into our people, into our communities. We need to get our power back from government.
Around the front of the PCYC, do a little bit of fundraising for the kids around this area, and I know that's something that Matt has done for pretty much his whole life as well.
I've known Matt for many years, mainly through his charity work. Originally with the Princess Charlotte Alopecia Foundation, which of course he founded for his daughter Charlotte, and then through work he's done for Variety and the kids we support.
Having a daughter suffer alopecia at the age of 7 was not life-threatening, but certainly life-changing for our family. The time in my life where I felt I had to rise above a lot of things that I never had to confront as a rugby league player. It was more challenging for me personally than rugby league. From that we found a positive. We turned our back on the negative aspect of this condition and found a positive, and that was to raise money, to buy wigs for kids, to give them a chance to get into life and live life to the fullest. And that's all any dad wants for a child.
So many politicians go out there and they don't quite know what they stand for, and he doesn't pretend to have the answers to all of Australia's problems. He's concerned with one of the major social scourges, which is alcohol-related violence, doing something about the Grog toll, I think as he calls it. And it's a very, very major issue. And here's a young man who's an emblem of the problem. He's got young kids and he's worrying about what's going to happen when they grow up. And as I've said many times, and he shares this view, that you don't see people having head-on collisions simply because they've had 3 too many smokes. You don't have kids being belted up in George Street in Sydney simply because someone's had 1 or 2 cigarettes that they shouldn't have had. Matthew Adamson is simply saying, look, I think there needs to be some political clout behind a campaign such as this. I'm a candidate. I'm not a single issue candidate. He isn't, because he understands families as well. He pays tax. He knows all those problems. But he wants to give focus to what he calls, the Grog toll. And I think to that extent he deserves very extensive support.
Prior to 2008, Newcastle had the highest rate of alcohol-related violence in New South Wales, and it really was a dreadful situation. And the police initiated a complaint against 14 licensed premises, and I led the community, over 150 residents and small business, joined the police in fight to make Newcastle a much safer city at night.
Australia was once a great nation of fighters. We fought through depression, we fought through a war, and sporting fields we have fought and fought for many years, and it's united Australia. If we go back to apartheid in South Africa, Nelson Mandela reunited a whole nation, if not reunited the whole world in relation to sport, and that's what needs to come back to Australian politics. Just genuine basic leadership. We can't toe the party line anymore. We need people to rise up and fight for what they believe in. This is a key element of the future of our country. Economics, refugees, whatever it may be, somebody has to show some initiative and directive and strong leadership.